All right, thanks Joey, and thanks everyone for being here. As Joey said, my name is Konrad. I've been with Cvent for 9 years. In fact, I just recently completed 9 years at Cvent, and I've been in Singapore for about 2 years. Second time coming to HSMAI, but it's my first time actually presenting. And what I really want to share with you today is, I think it's along the lines of a lot of the sessions that we've had. It's a lot about data, but more than data, it's also a lot about the feedback that Cvent is gathering from our customers, which is the meeting planners. So a lot of you may already know about Cvent and what we do, the products that we offer, but before I jump into the survey results, I do want to share a quick video with everyone in terms of Cvent, who we are, and of course our journey over the past 20 years. All right, so just to give you a very simple definition of what Cvent does, it's basically we transform meetings into events. We create a lot of products whereby meeting planners can easily manage their meetings, such as a meeting like this. They can automate those entire events so that it's lesser worry for the meeting planner, more business for everyone. Now, thinking about the fact that we have 25,000 customers, 25,000 planner users that are using our software, that are using our tools to automate their events, to create mobile apps, to find venues for their events. One thing that we do every single year, and it's really amazing, is we send out a survey to over 25,000 meeting planners worldwide. All the planners who are using our systems or our services in some way or the other. They could be an event registration user or a mobile app user, but we send out a survey to all of our customers asking them for more feedback. We ask them that, okay, fine, how is Cvent? What are some things that you think we can solve? What are some challenges that you face overall in terms of using our software or doing business? So this survey is actually on our website. If any of you are interested in looking at the results of this survey, you can always download this report. There's a lot of insight, and what I'm going to share with you today is barely, I'd say, 10% of that survey. It's really extensive, it's really exhaustive, but it has a lot of information within it. So rather than me just sharing the results of that and looking at what they have to say first, I want to share with you a little bit more about the customers or about the people who took this survey. If we look at their titles, so who did the survey go out to? You can see most of them have event or meeting somewhere in their title. They're either an event manager or an event director or a meetings director. But we also have some new titles as well. You've got people like marketing managers and travel managers and directors of marketing that have also taken the survey. So again, it's not necessary that it's just people that have meetings or events in this title. This is basically all of the customers that are using our services in one way or another. They're the participants of the survey. They're the ones who submitted their feedback to us. What we've also found is that 85% of these respondents have told us that planning events is their full-time job. This is what they're doing most of their time. So this is really what they're doing on an everyday basis. This is their bread and butter, whereas for 15% of them, it's part of their job, but not their entire job. 85% of them, it's their entire job, planning these events. And lastly, who who are they planning these events for? Most of the respondents mentioned that they're planning these events for their own company, whereas the remaining said that they were either planning it for an association or for some other company. So most of the people that took this survey have confirmed that not only is planning events their full-time job, but they're also doing it for their own company. So what do these planners have to say? Let's actually have a look at some of the core questions that we asked them and some of the results that they gave us. First of all, we asked them that compared to last year, how has the number of attendees changed at some of your core events? So we gave them a few options. We asked them, okay, like fundraisers, trainings, trade shows, in general, what's happening to the dynamics of your events? Are the attendees increasing? Are they not increasing? Is it decreasing? And what we saw overall is that on an average, 50% of them have mentioned that in some way the budgets, or not the budgets, but the attendees of their events is actually increasing, which is a good sign. So there are more people attending, more revenue that can be driven. Overall, across any event that you look at, the number of attendees attending those events is actually increasing in almost 50% of the cases. And because the attendees are increasing, I think it leads to the next question, which is, are the budgets increasing or not? And that's also a confirmed yes. In the same way that 50% of respondents said that yes, our attendee size is increasing, 50% also said that yes, in some way the budget for our events, that's also growing compared to last year. There are only a few people who've actually said that, it's significantly decreased, which is the yellow line. Some of you people maybe in the back might not be able to see it, but very few people have actually said that their budget has decreased for events. Most of them have increased their attendees, and most of them have increased their budgets as well. And then, which of the following departments are directly involved in budgeting for events? Now, this is a really interesting one. And I want to share with you a personal event that Cvent organizes every year. And the reason why I'm telling you the story is because it really relates a lot to the answers that I'm about to show you. Every single year in our India office, Cvent organizes an annual company-wide, okay? 10 years ago, the number of people at that company-wide was probably 400. Now we've got 1,500 people. So attendees increasing, budgets increasing. But here's the thing. It takes us almost 6 months to plan and organize that event. And it's only a one-day event. And it's only meeting space. There are no speaker rooms involved in it. But the reason why it takes us 6 months to organize that event is, first of all, it's a huge event. Secondly, we have to get approvals from multiple departments. It's not just about procurement or meeting planning or those people. Everybody from finance to marketing to legal, our CEO, everybody has to give a sign-off for this. HR has to be involved. So the reason why this is so relevant is sometimes we might think of meeting planners as people who actually have those meeting and event titles, but it really does take a village to organize an event. You really need every single department to be involved. And you can see that apart from event planning, there are a lot of interesting names that come up over here. You've got marketing, finance, corporate communications, purchasing. Everybody is involved when it comes to the budgets for these events. So, now what we're going to do is, instead of me just sharing results, I'm actually going to see how well you know your customers and how well you know meeting planners. So, first of all, at which stage during the sourcing process do you experience the most difficulty? Here's some of the options. I want everyone to have a look and just take a wild guess. For meeting planners, what do you think is the most challenging thing that they face in their entire process? Do you think it's choosing a venue, researching venues, compiling proposals? What do you think is the biggest pain that they face? Any guesses?
Researching venues.
Researching venues, okay. Any other guesses? What do you think is the challenge that a meeting planner faces the most? Comparing the proposals. Yep, that can be challenging as well. Especially if you've got like 7 to 8 proposals, you're putting them together, you're seeing which one to go for. So, in terms of what's the most challenging that they find, Joey, you get the right guess, which is researching a venue, 19%, but that's not the only challenge that they face. If you look at it, all of the things that I mentioned before are challenges that meeting planners face. Whether it's researching a venue, choosing a venue, comparing proposals, even negotiating with the venue. All of these are challenges that they're currently facing. Which element do you think hotels could improve when they're responding to RFPs? So we gave them multiple options. That what do you think is the thing that hotels really can improve, whether it's the attention to detail, the thoroughness, the conciseness, the speed? Because we really want to know that in terms of that whole interaction that meeting planners are having with hotels, what are some things that can be improved so that there's a better experience overall for both parties? And the feedback that planners gave to this question was that most of them mentioned that attention to detail is something that they were missing. Attention to detail is something that, again, this survey has been sent out to 25,000 planners, so this is, I would say, a very loud voice that's coming across. 29%, almost a third of the meeting planners have said that we definitely want more attention to detail. What's attention to detail? It's basically putting a lot more information in proposals. Getting an RFP is an excellent thing whenever you get an RFP, regardless of which channel you get it through, but at the end, it's really the proposal that wins that business. The amount of information that you're putting in the response, that's something that can really sway that decision. And you can see that planners have really voted for this option strongly. Over the past 2 years, has a venue done something that lost your interest in winning that piece of business? So what are some mistakes that happened because of which a planner actually said that, you know what, no, I'm not going for this hotel? Again, multiple options over here. What are some things that went wrong? And the response that they gave, the most, I would say, the response that they chose the most was lack of effective communication. So this is very similar to the feedback that we just shared earlier, the question that we shared earlier. Attention to detail. Attention to detail is something that was missing in a lot of the responses that meeting planners got from hotels. And when we talk about what are some things that went wrong that made you switch to another venue, it was lack of effective communication and actually high response time, not low response time. Low response time is actually a good thing, but a high response time or lack of effective communication. So it's not just about the thing that got the most percentage, it's also about all of these other aspects. Because remember, when we're talking about 25,000 meeting planners, even something as small as 14% we could not reach a deal, that's still a very big audience over here. 14% said that we could not reach any kind of deal. Venue representatives were rude, difficult to work with, did not disclose key information. Again, this is all feedback that is coming directly from those planners to Cvent so that we can share it with hoteliers, we can share it with everyone. And finally, which of the following elements has the biggest influence on your decision to submit an RFP? Again, we're not talking about awarding an RFP. Right now, we're just talking about me sending an RFP to a hotel. So what are the factors that really influence that decision? So the top spots were taken by some of these factors, which is the branding, the reputation, the venue cost, awards. And when we talk about cost is definitely one of the most important factors. It's not just for meeting planners, but for anything. If you're out to buy something, cost is definitely going to play a very big role. But having said that, we see a lot of other factors that are almost equally important, such as branding and reputation. Like, is it easy to find you? Have you branded yourself well? Secondly, reviews. Even if you're booking a hotel for a single night, you go to TripAdvisor, you go to Booking.com, what do you see? You see a lot of reviews. You get to see what other people have said about the hotel. Activities, attractions, room rates, photos, equally important. Again, it's a digital age, it's a visual age. We all like to see what the hotel looks like. So these are some of the top factors that came up when we directly asked planners that what are some things that can really influence your decision. So just remember, next time when you're looking at your hotel, regardless of which website that you look at, remember that these are some of the most important things that you can take into consideration when it comes to winning more business and receiving more leads. And finally, when you begin sourcing your event, how close to being finalized are each of the following? Now, what I want you to focus on are the two bars that say the event venue and the destination of the event. What's really amazing over here is that a lot of times when you receive an RFP through Cvent, you might think that, you know what, this planner already has a hotel in mind, or these guys always do business with this hotel. But based on the actual data that we've compiled from these respondents, what we found out is that on an average, 60% of planners have neither decided upon the event destination or the event venue. 60% of the times. So if you are one of those lucky hotels that's getting copied on that event RFP, chances are, very high chances are in fact, that that planner has not even finalized the hotel yet. They don't have a hotel already in mind, which is why they're communicating with you, which is why they've copied you on an RFP. 60% have not finalized this. So not only are you able to influence being a hotel, that decision, but even as a destination, you might be able to influence an RFP and win more business. How do you manage rooming lists for your event? My colleague May is actually over here, and she's a passkey expert, so do meet us up after the session. But the reason why we're asking this question is because now what we're seeing is that more and more event planners are adopting technology to manage their events. And when I say adopting technology, it doesn't just concern having a mobile app for the event or having event registration to manage attendees. It's also about having a tool that we call passkey, whereby event planners, they can actually automate their entire event, and hotels, they can actually use passkey to manage their groups in a very simple and effective way. So what we found over here is that even today, even though we're talking about technology and a lot of trends that are changing, what we still see is that 62% of them are still using, I would say, the old method of manually through spreadsheets. Let's face it, 62% of planners are still using spreadsheets when we're talking about organizing events. They're still mailing spreadsheets. But the point to focus over here is that there's a growing percentage, there's a growing segment of meeting planners that is now using room block management technologies such as passkey or other technologies as well. So as a hotel, if you're using a room block management technology, then that is something that can also influence that decision. Because 30%, even though it's not the biggest percentage, that's still a very sizable chunk. Again, 25,000 meeting planners, 30% said that they use some kind of room block management technology. Do you have a stronger preference for hotels that use room block management technology? Well, a lot of them have actually said yes. 40% have said that I strongly prefer an automated way to manage room blocks. Whereas it's a very small percentage that it says that there's no preference at all. But overall, most of these planners have admitted that yes, they would like some kind of technology when it comes to that entire room block management, such as passkey, such as other tools. So all of the feedback that I just shared with you, the whole aim of this is that customer feedback really is golden. Like, this is barely 10% of that entire report that we have on our website. So do make sure, if you are interested in gaining more information about how meeting planners are behaving, what's their journey, what are their challenges, feel free to visit our website. But I think the key takeaways over here for all of us is that if we look at the event landscape, a few important things that are happening is, first of all, the size of attendees is increasing. Events are getting bigger in general. The budgets are getting bigger. Everybody's involved in events. It's not just meeting and event-related people. But most importantly, there are a lot of challenges that planners are still facing, and it's up to us to address them. Some of the challenges that really came up are things such as, how much information there is in your proposals. Are you using a room block technology or not? What is your attention to detail? So these are all tidbits that we can use at the hotel to really be able to drive more RFPs to win more business. Because at the end of the day, it's really about the customer. What does the customer have to say over here? This is what the customer is saying, and this is what we need to leverage. We need to leverage customer feedback. And yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks, Konrad.